So your ads stopped performing well. As frustrating as this is, it's a pretty common occurrence for new advertisers and seasoned advertisers because inevitably there is going to be a point where your ads just don't perform as well as they did during that honeymoon period in the first couple weeks of running a campaign. Luckily for you, there are some ways to combat this issue, and I have a list of 8 quick tips that you guys can follow. I made this list in a specific order where we want to test the least amount of variables first, the ones that hold the least amount of weight and that have the quickest turnaround time. And then if those don't work, we can basically keep moving down the list and test other things. So let's start off with some of the very first things that I would take a look at. And that is simply changing the creative. So this is also known as the image or the video, basically whatever piece of content it is that people are seeing when they're scrolling on a platform like Instagram and Facebook. And how can we swap that out for maybe a new image or a new video? Let's just say that you're running an image of a stock photo of a maid or a stock image of a home. Maybe it's time to switch that out for some authentic images. So you can keep all the other variables the same and then just simply swap out the photo. Or if you're running photos and maybe now it's time to start testing a video or vice versa. Something you can also do is you can take an existing image that you have and then maybe you just overlay it with some text or some new images to spice it up a little bit more. So this is a common practice that we do with our clients when we know an image did perform very well. It fatigued a little bit, and then we need to spice it up a little bit. Now, the very next thing I would do is try changing the ad copy around. Or if you're running Google ads, for example, maybe that means changing the headlines around or the description of the ads around. Sometimes when you keep the variable of the creative the same, meaning you keep the same video and you keep the same images, but you just switch the ad copy around to test some different pain points, or maybe you test a long form ad copy versus short form, and you could find the winning formula just by doing that. Now, the next thing I would look into is testing new landing pages. So this especially applies if your ads are still getting a lot of clicks, you have a cheap cost per click, but you notice that the conversion rate is starting to go down. Well, that means that your landing page might be the culprit. And especially if you're targeting a relatively small audience who's clicked onto your ad, they've been through your funnel, but they did not convert. Well, now it might be time to just test some new layouts of your landing page, maybe test a whole different style. If you're running a very long landing page, maybe it's time to test a very short one, change the imagery around, the call to actions, things like that. Moving down the list, the next thing I would do is repackage your offer. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's just pretend that you're running a very basic bare bones offer where someone can request a free quote. Maybe you revamp it a little bit to make sure it's time bound. So by the end of this month, by the end of June, people have the chance to request a free quote. Or it could be like a specific holiday offer. Our Christmas cleaning special ends December 31st. Book your deep clean, something like that. You could also add scarcity. For the first 20 people who sign up for this offer, will include whatever it is. So this especially works well if you're willing to include some type of very enticing offer, whether that's something for free, maybe it's a fixed price cleaning, maybe it's a discount cleaning, something that is proven to work in the online advertising space, and you pair that with your cleaning service. That's how you win a perfect formula. Now, another thing I would do after that is maybe just testing a whole different hook. So going back to my previous example, maybe you're doing a fixed price point cleaning. Let's say that's your offer. It's 2 hours for $89, something like that. But now you want to try something a little bit different. So instead of going off of the fixed price points for a specific amount of cleaning, now you test maybe doing something related to donations. So for everyone who signs up for this service, we will donate X percentage of our purse to this foundation. It's a whole new hook, but this alone will entice a whole new audience that maybe saw your ad beforehand, didn't really speak to them, but now they're seeing this and it really hits home for them. Next thing on the list, I would try targeting just a whole new audience. So let's say you're doing an age range of people between 25 to 40. Maybe the next thing I would test is, 40 to 55, or maybe 60 and up, and you have a specific ad that speaks only to that audience. So if you go to targeting, let's say people 60 and up, that could be like a senior citizen discount. Let's say you're only targeting females in the first variation. Well, now maybe you could just target only males. And if you can find a messaging that speaks to specifically males with your ad, that will allow you to milk it out for a little bit longer. If that still doesn't work, the next thing I would look into is maybe promoting a whole new service. So this especially applies if you guys offer different types of ancillary services. For example, let's say you're a house cleaning company, but you also service carpet cleaning. Maybe you could just turn off the house cleaning for a little bit and only promote your carpet cleaning services and see how that pans out. Sometimes just leading the hook with a whole new service, you can still attract people for your previous service, but they just need a different type of thing to reel them in. If you're a commercial cleaning company, but let's say you also do floor stripping and waxing, well then maybe you can make a campaign that's specifically around floor stripping and waxing, and you still might be able to get some people for janitorial services, but it's not what you lead with. And last but not least, if all of these things still are not working, you've tested a ton of different variations of your ad, you've tried different landing pages, different hooks, different offers, repackaging it in many ways, and you know that you're spending enough money to make sure that it's worthwhile for your efforts, the very last thing I would do is test a new advertising platform. If you're in a pretty small market where there's not a ton of people, it is very possible that you could basically cap out your audience to where you've tested so many different offers, so many different hooks, that you're just simply not getting the attention that you once had. And this is where it makes sense to maybe move from Facebook to Google, or from Google to Facebook, or from Facebook to YouTube, or from YouTube to LinkedIn ads. So I will say that this is actually pretty rare, meaning people sometimes think that they've capped out their audience when in reality they're just not spending enough or not letting their campaigns run for long enough. So it is relatively rare for this to happen, but assuming you've done all these things, I don't think it will hurt to at least try another platform, or better yet, run them simultaneously and see which one is converting best for you. So that's pretty much it, guys. Those are my 8 tips of what I would do when troubleshooting an ad that is not performing as well as it once did. I want you to do me a favor and drop a comment below. What's the number one issue that you're having with your ads when they stop performing well? Is it a lack of leads? Is it your landing page doesn't convert? If you happen to know what the bottleneck is, do me a favor and drop a comment below. But aside from that, guys, like this video, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.